Hello and welcome to the last part of this year's Tandy special. If you missed it somehow, Tandy is a call out to all the retro tinkerers to celebrate all the tech around Tandy and Radio Shack computers and produce their videos on YouTube during the whole September. I followed the call and used the time to eventually bring my Tandy 1000 RSX back to life. In the last 3 parts, I built a PSU for this machine, disassembled and cleaned all the parts, installed some software, and talked about Tandy's sound system. And in this last part, I would like to continue with some hardware upgrades. So let's start. My first upgrade, which I do to all of my retro machines, is a network adapter. It simplifies the software transfer drastically. I will not go into details in this video, maybe another time, but in short, I'm using one of the best Ethernet adapters for ISOslot. 3COM 3C509 with a RJ45 port to connect to my local area network. I'm using MTCP tools to set up a FTP server directly on the retro machine and connect to it from my notebook to copy all the data I need. Next update is just of little use, but quite cool, and I do it because I can. I'm going to add a math coprocessor. Not much of the software from the 386 time did actually use the math coprocessor, but if you like SimCity, it should give a huge boost. Except of that, I heard of only one game which made use of it, but I never played it myself. Falcon, a combat flight simulator. Anyway, I have here some old CPUs and coprocessors. Here you go, this one is for 33 MHz, and this one is for 25 MHz. Just what we need, as our 386SX CPU runs with 25 MHz as well. When inserting the IC, pay attention to the polarity. This triangle always shows where the top of the IC has to be, and this dot is always in the top left corner of the IC. Always align the dot on the IC and the triangle on the socket like this. There are no physical keys in the socket which would prevent you from putting the IC in the wrong way. On this machine, you don't need to set anything in BIOS or jumpers to get the coprocessor, also named floating point unit or short FPU, up and running. It goes just automatically. I ran some benchmarks before the upgrade. Here you can see a landmark benchmark without a FPU. And here is Checkit reporting no FPU as well, and the benchmark with only 95.5 thousand whetstones calculated in software. And here we have a 387 coprocessor detected, and 1,166,000 whetstones, which is 11 times as much as before. And here is landmark. And here you see NSSI reporting a coprocessor at 25 MHz. As I looked at the 25 MHz, overclocking came into my mind. This seems to be an interesting topic for some of you, and it would be probably possible on this machine. I even found the crystal oscillator, which clocks the CPU. However, this is an old and rare machine. First of all, overclocking would probably shorten the life of it. And second, it could be kind of troublesome, because Tandy sound could be clocked too fast, and maybe other issues specific to this machine could pop up as well. So I decided not to make such experiments here and leave it for another time and hardware. Okay, what's next? I would like to upgrade the video memory from 256 kilobytes to 512 kilobytes. This upgrade is actually quite useful, and I will try to convince you. To understand why, we need to understand first how colors are represented in the image. I would like not to dig too deep today, but if you are interested in a video about this topic, please write into the comments. Anyway, to keep it simple, how many bits do you need to encode 16 colors? You need 4 bits. 0000 for color 1, 0001 for color 2, 0010 for color 3, and so on, up to color 16 represented as 1111. To represent 256 colors, you will need 8 bits in the same manner. Take a look at these standard VGA and SVGA resolutions. The usual gaming resolution in DOS is 320 by 200 pixels. If we play with 16 colors, every pixel will need 4 bits of memory to store the data. So 320 by 200 by 4 makes 256,000 bits, is the size of every frame, and every byte has 8 bits, so the frame will be 32 kilobytes. This will be at least the video memory you will need to be able to show it. And with 256 colors, you will need 8 bits per pixel. So for 320 by 200 image, you already will need 64 kilobytes of video memory for each frame. With 640 by 480 at 16 colors, you will need 153.6 kilobytes. For 640 by 480 at 256 colors, it will be already 307.2 kilobytes. And for 800 by 600 at 16 colors, you will need 240 kilobytes. And last but not least, for 800 by 600 at 256 colors, it will be double as much, 480 kilobytes of video memory. As you can see, with 256 kilobytes of video memory, which we currently have in the computer, we would be only able to support 640 by 480 and 800 by 600 resolutions at 16 colors. Our maximal resolution with 256 colors would be limited to 320 by 200. Why does it matter, you maybe ask? If you just want to play games in DOS, it probably doesn't matter at all. But what if we would like to use Windows? To show the difference, I installed Windows 3.1 on this machine. By the way, I tried to install Windows for Workgroups 3.11 here, but after the installation, the keyboard and mouse froze, maybe even the whole system. Since there is no reset button, I could only shut down the PC. I don't know why it froze, and I had no time to figure it out yet, but Windows 3.1 works just fine. Anyway, currently, as you see, the system is set up to use a standard VGA driver. It is running at 640 by 480 resolution at 16 colors. Here you can see the monitor menu, which reports the resolution. Well, you can't actually see the color depth, but just believe me, it is running with 16 colors. As I also installed the AVGA2 drivers, so let's try to switch to 640 by 480 at 256 colors video mode. After the restart, as you can see, Windows complains about insufficient video memory. Now we can't even go into graphical mode, so let's run the Windows Setup tool from DOS and set the resolution to 800 by 600 at 16 colors. Now the window started again. The settings confirm that we have the video mode, which we have chosen, and the monitor menu also confirms the setup resolution, 800 by 600. Now if you take a look again at this table, you will see that both 16 colors resolutions, which work now, do need less than 256 kilobytes of video memory. The lowest resolution which Windows supports is 640 by 480, and here you see that we have not enough video memory to run anything above it with 256 colors. Okay, time to add some video memory. I have this stack of deep memory modules. I will use these two ICs, each 128 kilobytes in size. Adding this memory to the system would bring it up to 512 kilobytes of video memory and allow to use more colorful and higher resolutions. And here we go. As you see, NSSI reports now Ecumos SVGA with 512 kilobytes of video memory, where it was Ecumos VGA with 256 kilobytes before. Windows started with 800 by 600 resolution now with full 256 color support. Alternatively, it would be possible now to even use 1024 by 768 resolution at 16 colors. However, 256 colors at that resolution would again need more than 512 kilobytes of video memory and would not run. Now to the next upgrade. The system has 1 megabyte of main memory soldered on the board, and it has additional 2 slots for memory extension. You can either use 2 sticks of 1 megabyte each. It is what we currently have in here installed. or you can install 2 sticks of 4 MB each and bring the system to amazing 9 MB of main memory altogether. Does this system need so much RAM? Well, I guess not for DOS. But again, if you want to use Windows, it is not bad to have it. Furthermore, why not to upgrade if we can, right? Well, maybe. I actually had my concerns. Take a look at the documentation. It says that you can use 9 MB of memory only without shadowing the BIOS. I have no clue why it is so. Neither do I really understand if shadowing is on or off if I look at RSX BIOS settings. It says something about shadow RAM remapping, but not to turn it on or off. Without shadowing, the system should be much slower. But I decided to give it a try though, and run some benchmarks before and after the upgrade. The SIM sockets on this mainboard are one of these using cheap plastic clips to hold the memory modules in place. I hate them pretty much because they get brittle after many years and break off easily. I replaced the 2 memory sticks with 1 MB each by these 2 with 4 MB each. After the upgrade, the computer detected the memory size mismatch. It is sufficient just to enter the BIOS settings, save and restart. Pay attention how the shadow option went to no, and it is not possible to change it anymore. Anyway, here are some benchmark results from before and after the upgrade. The results were quite surprising for me. In Checkit, the CPU, speed and hard drive I/O remained the same. However, the video performance rose by 50%. The same result could be seen in the landmark benchmark. Obviously, the BIOS option Remap Shadow Map does not seem to activate the BIOS shadowing when set to yes, but actually results in the opposite. Please write into the comments what you think about it. I would be glad to know why the documentation seems to be misleading here. Okay, these were some nice upgrades. And having Tandy sound is already a good option, but we all learned to love the warm sound of Yamaha OPL FM sound. Furthermore, this machine has no joystick port, and an additional sound card would give us both the joystick port and OPL FM sound. So our last upgrade today will be this Creative Sound Blaster 2.0. This is a famous sound card, and I will do a special about it soon, but today I would like just to use it in this Tandy 1000 RSX as an upgrade. Furthermore, I will upgrade the upgrade and add the support for Creative Music System FM sound. So we would have wide field of audio options for our Tandy machine. The Sound Blaster 2.0 doesn't need any drivers, and all the games can use it directly. And here comes the real OPL2 sound of Monkey Island. The secret of Monkey Island supports many sound options and is also superb for testing CMS sound. Honestly, I love it even more than the OPL2 option. Just listen for its stereo capabilities. I think compared to mono OPL2, it sounds quite impressive. And with that lib-compatible sound card, We now also can play games which don't support Tandy sound, like Wolfenstein 3D. However, not all went as good. This machine seems to produce a lot of noise on the data bus, and the Sound Blaster 2.0 was notorious for picking up noise. It was even called Noise Blaster sometimes. Here it is. Every memory or I/O activity clearly impacts the audio output of the sound card, even worse than what we have had on the Tandy sound output. It is so bad that I barely could record anything. I thought this could be old capacitors and I might have to recap the card. However, I have many of them from different revisions and they all had the same problem with their noise. They all sound really bad, and I don't know who to blame more, the Tandy 1000 RSX or Creative Sound Blaster 2.0. I think both. I tested literally a pile of another sound cards, and they all were not as silent as I would like them to be. The only one card which remains really silent was this AWE64. This sound card is an overkill on a 386 PC. So I was trying to choose another one, and I honestly didn't think that an additional sound card could be a problem. But beside the noise, they all have had different kind of problems. This one, for example, seems to have some kind of resource conflicts, since the driver initialization hung every other boot. I guess it's IDE controller or... well, I'm not sure. This one works most of the time, but has some weird issues with digital effects in Wolfenstein 3D and only there. Furthermore, as soon as I installed any of these sound cards in this machine, the onboard Tandy digital to analog converter stopped working and I got no digital effects through Tandy anymore. That's a shame, because I would like to be able to use full Tandy sound without having to pull out the sound card. Anyway, I couldn't solve the issue with the sound card in time for this video, but this problem is out of scope of this video anyway, and I will have to take a closer look at it another day. So far, I'm not sure if I would like to keep a sound card under these circumstances in this machine at all. I will have to spend more time on it to analyze the issues. However, I found it important to let you know that the noise and all the other problems can be really a pain on this machine. And this is actually it about the hardware upgrades. What else can I report? Well, I got Gotek floppy emulator running in this machine as well. You just have to set the jumper as 0 and the driver should work as expected. If you search for a floppy replacement for this machine, be sure to search one where you can switch the drive select settings. One last thing I would like to mention today is the Ultimate Hardware 2019 project, where I could contribute a little bit as well. The core team behind the project made a great job and made the search for the retro mainboard specifications a child's play. If you are interested to search for jumper settings on TH99, you will love this project. You can search by number of slots, CPU types, and a lot more. Also, the database was heavily extended with photos, original manuals, and BIOS ROMs. If you are in retro hardware, you have to give it a try. If you want to participate, please follow the project on Vogons and support the guys with your feedback and whatever help you can afford. Maybe as a starter for you, I already uploaded the images, manuals, and the BIOS ROM of this Tandy 1000 RSX there. You can find the link on the description as well. Or just go to Ultimate Hardware 2019 and search for 1000 RSX. And so far, this was it for this year's Tandy special on my channel. I have some more ideas and wishes about this 1000 RSX, but the next year Tandy will come. And for now, I hope you enjoyed this series. Thank you for watching. Please leave your feedback, likes or dislikes below. I'm always open for critics and suggestions, so please write if you know what I can improve or should talk about in the future. And if you like this channel, please consider to subscribe or share it with your friends. And I would be glad to have you on my channel again. Thank you and goodbye.